Hey folks, welcome back to Patriot Ridge Farm. Out here just doing my chores this evening. I don't know what these two knuckleheads did, but this 60-gallon olive barrel has been sitting right here strapped to this T-post for the last 2.5 years, and they haven't budged it. And today, for some reason, they must have got into a hell of a wrestling match in here, because they not only knocked it clear around over here, but the ring and the lid was off of it. So I had to wrestle it back in place because it still had water in it. And now I got it back in place, and I'm filling it up for them since they got so rambunctious with it today. Anyways, so a couple things to kind of talk about today. So that outbuilding that we have, you guys know that tan one with the red roof that you've seen in the last couple videos. So we bought that thing in 2018, and it's a 12 by 26. It's got 3 windows in it. It's got a man door and a sliding garage door. And we bought it, they delivered it, set it up for us and everything, about $7,800 in 2018. That same building today, exact same, like no changes whatsoever, the exact same building, same size, is $13,000. That's just since 2018. So what, 7 years? And then, because we were looking at some options, and I said, well, you know, that's a good building. It works fine, easy enough to bring in here and set up. Then we started looking at some prices, and I was going, geez, and that's a simple building with a man door and a garage door. That's no windows in it. So I said, no, we're going to skip that. So the idea was get 2 shipping containers, 2 20-foot shipping containers. Now, when we bought the one shipping container that we have, it's 20-footer. We bought it right about the beginning of 2020. Because I was making jokes about it, because right about that time we started hearing about the COVID virus and everything like that in China, and right on the side of it, it's got them big stickers that says China shipping. So, you know, that was a big joke, like, uh-oh, what did I just import type of thing. But then when we got it, I think it was like $1,200 or $1,400 delivered. So I checked last fall, they were $2,600. Same thing, watertight, airtight, or windtight, windproof. 2 open doors, you know, 2 hinge doors on the front of it. $2,600. That's up a little bit more than what I want to pay. And the lady asked me, she said, so, you know, when do you think? I said, I don't know. I said, call me back in March and let's kind of see, you know, where we're at. I said, a lot of it's going to depend on weather here, because you'll never get those things out here where I want them if it's wet and muddy. So she called me back 2 nights ago and wanting to see if I was still interested, ready to buy. And I said, oh, they're still like $2,600 each. And she says, oh no, they're $3,100 and the prices are going up. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I said, nothing special, just the same 20-foot airtight windproof type. Yep. So I said, well, we're going to definitely hold on that. And she said, well, I'm going to tell you, the prices are going to be going up. So I assume that's got to do with the tariffs and everything like that, whether they be reciprocal or new tariffs, whatever. I guess they're expecting a huge decrease in their inventories and stuff, so the prices have definitely went up. So we're definitely going to hold off on that. My idea was to bring 2 of them out here between the chicken coop and the equipment building. Right over there you see that orange bucket, that's off my big Kubota. So I was going to make a level area right there, set 2 of them side by side, build a roof over top of it, make me more storage area so I could put like my brush hog and my wood chipper and stuff in there and not take up all the room in the equipment shed. So excuse me. So I said, no, I'm not ready to spend that kind of money. Hell no, we'll just wait. Things will settle down, we hope so. I don't think the culmination of all this is going to happen until probably pretty much April. I think we're going to see a continuing rise in tensions and prices and demand and anger and triggering and whatever else. And I think once April comes, because it's kind of where they got everything set now, like through the federal government, that they have to have their plans in by like April 14th or April 15th, somewhere around that time. All these agencies have to have their plans in place to be implemented with his new restructuring plan and everything like that. So once all that comes to play, I guess we'll see where we're at and just kind of watch things from there, because it's not a have-to thing right now. And I'm definitely not going to spend that much money on something that I paid, you know, $1,200, $1,400 for 7 years ago. Prices will eventually come down, because I'm sure things are going to work out with the tariffs, and countries are going to get pissy, and like they already are, and we'll just have to wait and see. So with all that said, yeah, so those plans are kind of set aside. Here's my other dilemma. So I've got a bunch of locust trees cut out there for fence posts. And I've got several more I can put down pretty much all over this farm. Right now the problem is there's a bunch of them over here in this stand, but I got my pigs in there right now, and I don't want to drop any of them, put them on a fence right over in this area here. These are all locust trees, and of course you can see a lot of the vines have taken over them, killed the canopies off, so they need cut out anyways. So we're going to be doing a pig tomorrow. That'll leave us with 2. And over the next 2 Saturdays, we'll finish out the other 2 and be done with that. And I can start working on cleaning up the paddocks and everything, cutting out the undesirables and stuff like that. But I'm going to need more posts. I'm going to need more fence posts. So there's a place called MacArthur Lumber and Post in MacArthur, Ohio. I think it's like 150 miles from me. So it's like 2.5 hours over, 2.5 hours back. They have the 5 to 5.5 inch by 8 foot cylindrical posts. They're not tapered. They have the cylindrical posts for $12.50 each. Or you get a bundle, which is 40 of them for, I think, $1,000 or $500. So I go over and get 2 bundles, 80 of them for $1,000. I started calling here around here locally. First of all, I just got on the apps, looked at Tractor Supply and Rural King. They're ridiculous. You're talking $20 a post and up for that same size. And of course, they're all tapered, which there's nothing wrong with tapered fence. It's just, or tapered posts. It's just the area where I'm going to be building my fence coming up through the woods. I'm going to use my locust posts in there, but I'm putting that field fence up, so you got to stretch it tight. There's always going to be tension on it. So I don't want to go with tapered posts, because eventually what you end up with is that top will kind of bow out like that. I don't want that to happen. So I want to go with the cylindrical posts. So I'm looking at $16.50 a post at one place and $18 a post at another place that are local. And these are the 2 places I typically get feed from. Then Rural King and Tractor Supply, of course, are $20 a post. And you know, you might get a little bit of a discount, maybe a 10% discount if you buy a bundle. But I think to offset the total cost of that, instead of buying local, if I buy 45 tapered posts at the one place, it's going to cost me $650. If I buy 40 of the cylindrical posts at MacArthur Lumber and Post, it's going to be $500. Minus 5 posts from the other one, but still that's $150, $175. It's $175. So $675 for 45 posts local at the cheapest place that I found, and $500 150 miles away from me. So I think the offset of travel and fuel costs, I mean, I can go over and back on a tank of fuel in my truck. It's no big deal. Even hauling a trailer and 80 posts back, I can go through a tank of fuel, and that's probably $120 to fill my truck up. So I think it's going to be worth the cost to go over there, and I'm still probably going to come out ahead if I make the trip, travel over, travel back, and everything like that. So I think that's going to be my future plans, is to go ahead and order 2 bundles, go up there one weekend, pick them up, and then come back. And the cool thing is their prices actually came down, because 3 months ago they were $12.65 a post. Now they're $12.50 a post. Hey, 15 cents makes a difference when you're buying in bulk. And 80 posts may not sound like a lot, but hey. So I think 80 posts will be fine to get me pretty much through this year. It may not, just depends. Like I said, I'm going to cut more locust trees down and use them as fence posts, because, well, they're here. And like I said, you can see the canopies are pretty much gone in a lot of them because of all the vines and the invasive overgrowth. So I'll cut them out and use them, just make good use of them. The other thing is about the wheat that I was talking about on the last video. So I got on, started doing my research. And what I found was, so einkorn seems to be a big one. It's like the only non-hybridized type of wheat that's available now. And I don't know if you've ever tried to bake bread with einkorn, but it's a more dense, more rougher texture, more gritty, or not a gritty, but a more crumbly texture. Very hard to make sourdough out of. I don't know if you've ever tried it. That stuff is so sticky, and it does not matter what you do to it. It is very sticky. I've been on all the einkorn groups, and everybody says, you know, it's much harder to bake with and everything like that. While you get a good product in the end, still much harder to bake with. And my wife, she's trying to make, and she makes sourdough like nobody's business, and she was trying to make sourdough out of that einkorn, and all I did was sit back going, okay, we ain't gonna do this no more. So I got to looking, and you know, a lot of people say, so, you know, I can't eat bread or pasta or anything in the United States, but if I go to Europe, I can eat it with no problem. No bloat, no belly pain, no weight gain, no nothing. They eat it and they're fine. And I think a lot of that has to do with, number one, is not only the species of wheat that they're eating, but the farming practices, because a lot of the stuff that they use here in the U.S. is not allowed over in Europe. And take out the pesticides and the herbicides and the glyphosates and everything like that. You know, I don't think there's been enough research done on glyphosates to prove that one way or the other they are causing problems. But when you add 2 and 2 together, that kind of gives you that idea. Not to mention the modified wheats and stuff that we eat here have been modified multiple times over to have a higher yield, which increases the gluten content in it also. So I think one of the things I read, it says you don't have a gluten intolerance, you have a glyphosate intolerance type of thing. I don't know how true that is. And I don't know why they've not put actual research into it, or at least released the research that we know that needs to be done on that. Anyways, I got to looking at the ancient grains and stuff, and there's 2 big ones. One is called emmer, E-M-M-E-R, and the other one is called durum, D-U-R-U-M. And in Italy, so like durum and emmer and spelt are referred to as farro. But durum and emmer kind of got their start about 10,000 years ago. That's when they were first domesticated in the Fertile Crescent, if you know where that's at. Pretty much the birthplace of agriculture. They were domesticated there, and this is what they've used. And like I said, in reference to the Bible, wheat, bread, all that good stuff is mentioned multiple times over in the Bible as staple. Good stuff for, you know what I mean? It's easy, it's good to eat for you, it's nutritious, it'll, you know. So there was so much of that. And I actually found where you can buy that here in the U.S. Hold on, Mila! She was hunting a chicken. So I found it, and it's organic. So I bought both the durum and the emmer wheat, and that's what I'm going to grow this year. And I already ordered it. It was like $39 for both of them. I don't know how much or how many seeds are in each one or whatever, but they should both adapt very easily here. We don't, big girl. And we'll try it. We'll never know unless we do try it. So that's the route we're going to go. Anyways, so prices are crazy. Prices are going up, probably going to get worse. Tariffs may be good in the long run, but they're not good right now because they're just jacking prices up. Stock market's crap. 401ks and Roths are taking a hit. I mean, it's a mess. I think we're going to have harder times before we have better times. I know a lot of people don't agree with what's going on. I think the biggest issue with this is that there's no communication. There's no transparency to what's going on. It's like a sweep and clear, seek and destroy type of a mission that they're on, and they're not kind of laying out the battle plan for people. And there shouldn't be no secret squirrel stuff about this, and there shouldn't be no, behind the scenes. They should let the American people know what's going on, what their plan is, how they're going to do it, rather than just, send in the hitman and let him take them all out. So, that just kind of incentivizes me to do a little bit more this year with growing. Well, all right, come on, get out of there. There we go. Get this out of the road. All right, so that just it builds up that incentive for me to grow more this year, and especially like growing the wheat. We don't eat a lot of bread in the house. The kids do, and we try to get them the best we can get. What's available to us, or my wife will just make homemade bread. But unfortunately, it's with the same flour that you buy in the store that the other bread's made out of. Bleached, stripped, heavily refined, and heavily fortified with all the bad stuff that you really don't need. So even whole wheat, so like I read, I think it was like 30% of the United States wheat is sprayed with glyphosate to desiccate it, to dry it out before harvest. Well, what 30% of that is going into breads, going into bags of flour and stuff like that, you just don't know. So those are the things that, you need to take into consideration. If you want to improve your health, you want to start over, kind of get off all the pharmaceuticals, or a lot more than what you already are, a good start is with your food supply. Pay a little bit more now for organic, for clean, for pasture raised, grass fed, grass finished, whatever it may be, and save yourself some deductibles and copays in the future. Because 2 and 2 adds up to 4, no matter how you look at it. And the food supply tells us, and the amount of chronic illness that we have tells us that it's pretty much the food. But anyways, I digress on that. All right, so coming up, I'm trying to collect some cardboard, get some cardboard up here so I can put out in the greenhouse to start getting my beds built. Hope to be doing that in the next couple weeks. Need to get some more and get up here because I'm instead of tilling that area up where I was talking about earlier, I think I'm just going to lay down cardboard and dump topsoil on top of it that I've got piled up down at the bottom of the hill and go with that. And that way, cardboard will act like a weed blocker. It'll help keep the soil moist and everything like that. And as it breaks down, it attracts insects like, you know, earthworms and stuff like that that are really good for the soil anyways. So that's the route we're going to go. So that's all kind of calmed down. Chill out. Just kind of watch and wait. Be ready for just about anything at this point. God knows what's going to happen. Like I said, I firmly believe things are going to get worse, more hectic, more chaotic before they get better. And we'll just have to wait and see. Because I don't think we got any control of it. At least not for the next 4 years. You vote how you want to vote, but see how all this turns out. Got to rip that Band-Aid off. That's the easiest way to do it. All right, I'm done. Get and stay prepared. Stay free. God bless y'all.